So to just make Kenyans feel at home, I have borrowed a slide from Nation Media House. Yeah, and it tells you that currently in Africa, we are consuming about 14 kilos per person, meat, 14 kilos per person, which is slightly lower than in Africa, where we are consuming 19 kilos per person. And the figures in Africa are being distorted by the South Africans who are eating 59 kilos of meat per person per year. But that is still small. And I agree with my friends out there who say we are not consuming enough meat, because in the Latin America or in the Americas, we are consuming 86 kilos per person per year. In Europe, it drops to 76 kilos per person per year. And in Asia, it's about 31 kilos per person per year. So you can start seeing the dynamics around some of these things. And that's what we need to look at. We'll come back to those figures at some point, because we'll do some arithmetic in terms of how much are we actually supposed to consume. Is it 1 kilo per person per year? And remember, this is meat only. We've not started engaging on other things. So we are saying that between 1961, when the former president was born, and the year 2017, we moved from consuming 70 million tons of meat per year to 330 million tons of meat per year. Africa is estimated that we are currently eating 14 kilos. It is going to double by 2050 to about 26 kilos. So we need to start asking ourselves certain fundamental questions. Number one, where are we going to grow this meat? Remember, the land size is the same. In Kenya, what we are doing, we are converting agricultural land into buildings. So the question is where you're going to grow that meat. Then number two, do we have the capacity? And is it sustainable? And those are some of the things that you're looking at. That increase in consumption is leading to intensification of production systems. And I want to move to what intensification looks like. So in terms of intensification, we are saying that you're having a lot of animals being kept in small spaces. And those animals then are not able to experience or to live a good life. And remember, we are about protecting animals. So the animal must have its 5 fundamental freedoms met. And that's constitutional. If you go to the Constitution of Kenya, that is actually put into that constitution. Naona watu wale walisomewa katiba wananiangalia. Yeah, if you are ready for now, I'm telling you that in the Constitution, there's a whole clause around protecting animals. The challenge with the industrial livestock production systems is that it doesn't recognize animals as sentient beings. It does not recognize that animals have feelings. And sentient beings is simply to say that the animal has feelings, has capacity to remember, and can undergo certain processes that are critical for it. What drives that kind of business is about maximizing profits and ensuring that the bottom line is well kept. But it's also coming with a lot of challenges that we are looking at. It's not sustainable at certain things. We've talked about deforestation because we have to clear land to grow the feed. We've talked about, and we'll talk about, a lot of chemicals being used in that production system that negatively then impacts our health. We are talking about waste management. If I asked in this room, those of us who come from Ushago, most of you will say that when you finish, the manure that comes from production systems goes into growing crops. But the reality is, if that manure is contaminated by pesticides or antibiotic residues, then you're just contaminating the environment. And we have research that has been done around that. Then interestingly, if it rains and it runs into the streams, what happens? You collect the same residues from the streets. So essentially you are contaminating your whole food chain and having negative impacts in terms of public health. Having said that, meat consumption is going to continue. And as an organization, we are saying, don't stop eating it, just eat less. And that's something that we need to look at. What is driving that is our addiction to meat. As I said, in CAP surveys we've done in this country and across Africa, we realize that when you reach or when you've done well, you eat more meat. And that is something that, in fact, even the business has realized that. That's why in your supermarket today, you have a butchery section. That's why in your supermarket, because they also know that you don't want to go and cook the meat, they cook for you that meat and you get it easily and readily available. In fact, COVID has even helped us. Now you can sit at home and it will be delivered. Yeah. So you can see how we have changed our cultures in terms of consumption. But all these things are driving certain things. It's driving climate change. It's leading to pollution of the environment. It's driving antibiotic resistance that's becoming the next big pandemic. And it's destroying wild animals' habitat because we are replacing wild animal species with production systems. In fact, no less than World Health Organization has then analyzed the whole system. And what you can see on the screen on the right is actually a report from World Health Organization talking about food systems driving better health. And it talks about negative or hidden health impacts that are coming from our food systems, hence the discussion around what we are doing today. I want to then say that certain things that comes out of intensive farming systems, and some of the negative impacts is effects on public health. We have the climate change issues that we are dealing with. We are looking at antibiotic resistance, but of great importance for us is the cause of it causes suffering to billions of animals. What I want to do in our next couple of slides is then just give certain highlights. I realize it's the evening. A lot of us are not scientists, so we don't want to bore you with the science. Lucy tells me when I talk to an audience, I should talk to people who dropped out of Form 2. That's what the journalists tell me. So, but today I have an audience that has learned friends. So I also have to try and massage their ego and show that I went to a good school. So in terms of unhealthy diets, the reality is that because of the unhealthy the consumption of excessive meat, non-communicable diseases has become one of the biggest killers on the planet. It actually accounts for 71% of deaths, which is equivalent to 41 million people annually dying because of non-communicable diseases. That's not YAMO data, that's not World Animal Protection data, that's World Health Organization data. So your consumption of meat is driving certain things, and then our change of lifestyle is even compounding it further, and that is giving us challenges. We are told that about 670 million people on this planet are obese. Yeah, obese yeah. So I hope you understand that. And 1 in 3 people are actually overweight. Of course, when I talk to my relas, they quickly tell me that what the Muzungu is using is meant for that slender body. It's not meant for the African body that has a bit of more strength and bones. That alone is costing that alone is costing us $2 trillion annually. In fact, one of the research pieces we've done, looking at impacts of poor health or impacts from some of these systems on public health budgets is very interesting. The reason why we will never achieve universal health coverage is because of lifestyle diseases, which is tied to our diets and what we are consuming out there. Okay, Amerudi. The second thing is zoonotic diseases. For those who do not understand zoonotic diseases, these are simple diseases that come from man to humans and from humans to man. Yeah, 70% of emerging and re-emerging diseases are actually zoonotic in nature. And that then drives the process around what we need to be looking at. Again, at the beginning of the pandemic, United Nations Environmental Program, and I think that's very interesting, that a program that looks at environment, working with ILRI, was able to connect that for you to prevent pandemics, you need to start looking after your animals well. And they actually say that between 1940 and at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, 50% of your pandemics came from production systems. And that's part of the reason then we need to look at animal production systems. The third one is antimicrobial resistance. And for those who, again, are not familiar with the term, it's simply saying that the organism has developed or mutated or changed so that it is not able to be treated by the medications that we have been using. And essentially, the world is not developing any new medication or products, especially antibiotics. And a lot of antibiotics is going into production systems. In 2017, when the Global Alliance started looking at antimicrobial resistance, they came to one conclusion, that unless you address animal welfare, you are not going to sort out your antimicrobial resistance. Yeah, and that's, and again, global organizations talking, not World Animal Protection, the big three, FAO, OIE, or World Organization for Animal Health, and World Health Organization. And that's part of what they started looking at and started working around a One Health process to ensure that. Just to put it into context, we are currently losing, ignore the figure on the slide because that slide was done a bit earlier, we are currently losing 1.2 million people annually because they get diseases that cannot be treated. Simply because in our management of our production systems, we are using excessive antibiotics. And it means that consumers are then having access to low-dose antibiotics in the products, milk, eggs, or meat. That then means at the point that they need to use the antibiotic, it is not going to be able to work. We are saying that by 2030, the biggest increase in antibiotic production will happen in BRICS. Anybody wants to tell me which countries are in BRICS? We should ensure Carol doesn't speak because she knows these things. Yeah. So which are the BRICS countries? Okay, somebody said Britain. Carol, is it Britain? Yeah, so it's Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and China. But my boy, when he was a young man, told me that BRICS is not spelled that way. What is missing in BRICS? K for Kenya. So you're actually part of BRICS because you meet the standards. I think it's just a process that needs to go. We're saying that the biggest consumption of antibiotics will happen in the BRICS countries, which includes Africa, or Kenya for that matter. And that's something that we need to be looking at, the way that we are using antibiotics. In fact, from our survey, antibiotics are used to mask poor welfare production systems. I know if I ask a lot of you, your neighbor buys antibiotics over the counter, gives to chicken because they don't want to watch the chicken house. Your neighbor buys antibiotics and gives to chickens because they don't want to do proper vaccination or feed the animal properly. And that's part of the challenge that we're having, and that why we are saying that needs to happen. By 2050, we are saying about 10 million people will be dying annually from diseases that cannot be treated. And that is something that we need to be worried about. Tennyson mentioned or alluded to the fact that 30% or 26% of greenhouse gases actually come from production system. So animal production is also driving greenhouse gases, and it's something that we need to be looking at. As an organization, we are engaged in that process. We are saying that we need to get that conversation at COP, because as far as I know, currently we are only looking at contributions coming from fossil fuels, but we need to start saying what is coming from our production system that we need to then drive that process. The next slide just gives you an indication, again from FAO, of what is happening in terms of that and what animal is contributing what in terms of greenhouse gases, and it's something that you can engage with later after when we are done. The last one is about environmental impacts. And I want to say that the biggest impacts in climate change are actually driven by the environmental impacts of animal production. And we had alluded to the fact that animal feeds is one of the big contributors and drivers of that. It drives deforestation. And so you can see in a country like ours where we are talking about ensuring forest cover is improved, but we are all still clearing forests to grow animals, and that then drives certain processes that we need to be looking at. The second thing about production systems is that we are in a water-stressed continent. And that simply means that the little water that we have is going into animal production and leaving us with challenges in terms of ensuring that we have enough adequate and clean water to drive some of these things. And that is not sustainable at the point that we are. Then that production system, as we already alluded to, uses a lot of chemicals that ends up contaminating the environment. But the interesting bit of it is what is happening here. That we are using, for every 100 calories of energy that you give animals, you only get about 17 to 30% feed. So the question we're asking ourselves is, what is the alternative? Shouldn't we just then be using some of these products directly instead of feeding them to animals, which are relatively inefficient? I think I've bored you with data, so I want to move to the eat less meat itself. So what is the solution we are offering? And why are we saying that we need to eat less meat? we go back to the maths. How much protein or meat does an adult need to eat on a daily basis? Now, this is where the road hits the rubber. Because I know in this room, I have been hanging around certain people out in the field. There are people who can finish a whole goat by themselves. But the recommendation, and this is the international recommendation, is that for an adult like you and I, who are not going to the gym like Ian, you only need 0.8 grams per kilogram body weight. So if you are 80 kilos like Dr. Yamo, you're only supposed to eat 64 grams of proteins, not meat. Let's be very clear. Of proteins, not meat. Yeah, when I talked to a nutritionist, they told me, Daktari, what you need to be eating is the size of a matchbox of proteins, not meat. So when you eat a quarter, you're way above your recommended standard requirements. Yeah. If you go to the gym, so that I then sort Ian out, you need about 1.2 to 2 grams. So if you're 80 kilos like Yamo, the maximum you can consume per day of proteins again is 160 grams. It still doesn't even reach the quarter. So a quarter should be for 2 people. Very correct. Yeah. Si mimi nasema, nimesema mwende, you go and read your nutrition policy or look at the daily recommended dietary requirements internationally. That's what it says. And that then drives the process of why we are saying we need to eat less meat, because essentially what you're consuming over and above is waste. It is not converting to anything useful in your body. In fact, it's causing problems for your kidneys and livers to metabolize some of these things. And hence the reason why non-communicable diseases have become a biggest challenge of what we need to be looking at. So what are we saying you should do? And I want us to be very clear on this one. We are saying eat less, but better meat. Yeah. So there's a better meat than what we are currently consuming. And that's what we need to be looking at. And what is this better meat? We are saying that meat should come from high welfare production systems. Yeah. So we are saying out there that there are certain systems that are higher welfare. They cater for the animals' 5 fundamental freedoms. They ensure the animal eats well. They ensure the water is good. They ensure the animal is in a comfortable environment. They ensure that the animal doesn't go through processes that causes disease, pain, or injury. And they ensure that the animal is able to experience or exhibit its natural behavior. And one of those systems that we are saying we need to work around is what we call farms. And again, you can Google, I know you have those tough phones. You can Google farms initiative and you'll find farm animal responsible minimum standards. And that's what we are saying for consumers. We need to start pushing the value chain to start recognizing that animals must be produced in systems that have minimum standards that are acceptable of welfare. And so I go back to what we are saying in terms of farms. There are certain things we are looking at. We are looking at not having animals in battery cage systems, not closely confined, giving them enough stage, and some of those things that you can literally look at. I go back to my other slide. Again, what are we saying and recommending? We are recommending that you choose to eat less meat and eat better quality meat from such production systems. And that's why we are saying you should join us to have the Eat Less Meat Challenge. I want to skip and go to there and say that we are counting on you to join the Eat Less Meat Challenge. And at that point, I would want to invite Caroline Mutoko to take over. Na niseme kwa hayo machache, asanteni sana.
I was worried he was challenging me to eat less meat. I wanted to recognize the Media Corps present here, because those figures are very important. Because the minute you do anything about this campaign, so kulangi nyama ya kutosha, for those joining us from around the continent, it's clear that Kenyans love meat, not as much as South Africans. I'll come to that in a moment. But to Royal Media Services, Media Max, the Star newspaper, and the Standard Media, those numbers are very important. So let's start the dialogue, because you know there's going to be fire, and I'm ready for it. I'm really ready for it. However, I just wanted to acknowledge the countries that are represented and joining us online for this Eat Less Meat dinner. Zambia, South Africa, who eat more meat than the rest of us. Kenya, who are probably going to break out into a cold sweat tonight. Uganda and Cote d'Ivoire. Thank you for joining us. I actually want to quickly make way for Lucy Wanjiku. Lucy is head of communications of World Animal Protection. She is passionate about this. She does not understand why you do not think it is possible to eat less meat, but she's going to prove it to us tonight. So Lucy, I'd like you to take over the stage. Where's my microphone, sir? Yes, thank you. I need it. Lucy's loud, but not that loud. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucy Wanjiku.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, when Yamo was speaking here, I could see people nodding, and I knew we have the right audience in the room. People who are hearing this for the first time. How many of us are hearing this for the first time? For the first time, about Eat Less Meat, about the numbers. We all knew this? We all knew this? Oh, good. Good, you guys are genius. So today we came here to eat less meat. And when we were curating this campaign and wondering what do we do, how do we start the discourse about eat less meat, of course, you'll agree with me, a very difficult conversation to have in our country, especially now, mambo ya uchumi, unaijua, you know, it's a very, very difficult conversation. We thought, who do we bring to the room? And we went to Taurus and asked Taurus, whom do we bring here? And she was very kind. She told us, we need people of influence. And I want to imagine that each one of us here has some influence. We are decision makers at our household level. We have a lot of influence on our social media pages. We have policymakers in the room who make policy, especially the nutritional policy. We have people, Karen Mutuko, well-known, celebrated voice artist, eating less meat, leading the way for us. We have people who are in academia. So we have people of influence in this room. So the question is, what can you practically do? Because sometimes it's good to talk, but what can we do? We are proposing 5 things that you can do.
Oh, this is where you tweet.
5 things. Are we ready to tweet?
Yes.
Yeah? What can you do? The first thing that you can do is to identify a meat-free day. It can be within the week, within the month, or even within the year. You can even choose a week in a month, a week in a year, a month in a year, you know, that you say, this week, this day, this week, I'll not eat any meat. We have social media influencers here who will be guiding us on choosing and identify each day. So we have Eat Less Monday, Eat Less Wednesday, Eat Less Sunday, Eat Less Meat Sunday. We have those people in the room. And I want to urge you that you take just one day, just one single day that you say, today, I will explore other alternative sources of protein. Is that a good action? How many of us will take that? And I'm sure also people online, please take that action. The link will be up. Just one single day. The second thing you can do,
yes.
The second thing you can do, are we ready for the second thing?
Yes.
Is try meat-free alternatives. And there are so many meat-free alternatives that you can try. And today we'll be testing a few. And even you'll get something that will guide you through the process of identifying and embracing meat-free alternatives. I'm sure you'll hear of things like tofu, things like madodo, we all know that. So we want you and we urge you to identify meat-free alternatives. The third thing, and this is really, really, really important, the kakuota that Yamo has spoken about. We urge you to eat less. Reduce the portions. You don't need the whole sinia. Yeah? The whole sinia, watu wa nyama choma. Reduce the portion. You reduce the portion. When you reduce your portion, really, by eating less, you'll be contributing to the betterment of animals, the planet, and even for your own health. So we are urging you just to reduce, upunguza kidogo. So reduce, that's the third thing. The fourth action that EAMO has spoken about here is about choosing better meat. When you go to the butchery, it's good you ask yourself, where did this meat come from? Where did this meat come from? A question that not many Kenyans ask, but I know with your influence and you being one of our greatest supporter, you'll be able to influence people to start asking these questions. I must say personally, I didn't know about this until I joined Wild Animal Protection 6 years ago. And Yamo took me through a very serious induction because I thought the chicken I was eating, you know, the kienyeji chicken was really good, yeah, despite how it was grown. But he took me through what is high animal welfare, that an animal needs to enjoy its life, even if it's to be eaten. So right now, I choose better. So I urge you to choose better. Ask where your meat is coming from so that the production system can get a little bit of cleanup and you are able to get meat that is free of AMRs, meat that is free of pathogens. So it's upon us here to take action. We know that policy is, there is not much policy safeguarding us as consumers, but we have the power. We have the media in the room, we have you, we have the power, so choose better meat. The fifth one, before I call Motuko to launch the big thing that brought us here, is to, actually the fifth one, yeah, explore protein alternatives which are spoken to. We label them wrongly. The final one, the fifth and the big one now, actually, is why we are here. You can see stuff on your tables.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can see a QR code there. Is to take the pledge. And that's why we are here today. We want you to take the pledge. And the pledge is between you and yourself. To pledge to you that from today henceforth, I will eat less meat. I will be part of the movement that is making a difference for animals, for planet, and for my own health. I will take action and take the pledge. So this is what we do. There is that paper on your desk.
All right, let me
Guide us here.
All right, so
Yeah.
QR code, I'm sure your phones can do
Yeah.
this. Scan it, please. When you scan it and you go on, scroll until you're asked to actually join. When you pledge with us, you get a surprise. So if you don't pledge, you don't get the surprise.
Yes, no
Yeah, so
surprise
I'm
for you.
actually going to give you a chance to do that right now. And while you're doing that, Nataka Kulonche, eat less meat. Let me just make sure we have them. Lucy, tell me whether I got it right. Choose a day, a week, even a month in the year where you eat no meat. So make it your no meat day.
Exactly.
All right.
No meat day.
Okay. Explore non-meat options.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Eat smaller portions of
Mhm.
meat. So,
Yes, smaller portion.
so we're not allowed to call and say, welcome, boo. You do not understand how hard this will be for us. Also, you've asked us to eat better quality meat and choose better meat.
Choose better.
Better. And then, of course, take the pledge to eat less meat. Not eat no meat, eat less meat.
Eat less meat. That
Eat
is the
less
word.
meat.
Eat less meat. That's the
Yeah.
action.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you been able to get on? Is our QR code working? Is it? It's loaded? Oh, that means the rest
Okay.
of the continent is on as well. Do they get the QR code? So while you're doing that, Lucy, I want you to declare the Eat Less Meat campaign officially launched. Please, go right ahead.
Exactly.
Do you
Exactly.
need company?
I need company here. I need
Okay.
lots of company. I need
Mrs.
company.
Tennyson?
I need Tenson here.
Dr. Yamo. Oh, there you are.
I need our
you here.
doctor here. We need Dr. Judy Kimaru here. Oh, we need to bring, we are bringing the ribbon in here
Okay.
so that we can get organized.
Unakata ribbon.
Tunakata
Simama
ribbon.
hapo.
Simama
Wewe
hapa.
simama hapa. Okay, I also need Dr. Where is he? Dr. There you are. Join me here. And you. Yes, I needed more.
We
ladies
need
in the
Dr.
picture.
Masika here.
Yes, Dr. Masika.
Masika. And Judy Mureithi.
Where's, is that Sophie we had? Yeah, Sophie, Masika, and Judy. Fantastic. All right. So,
And we have the.
no,
want to
wait,
play
I'm
with
getting
the
you the rib. Ngoja kidogo.
Ngoja.
Do you know how important this is? We're asking Africans to eat less meat. We have to take a breath here. We have to take a deep breath here. Let me just check. Are we ready? I can help. Yeah? All right. Okay, we're good? Where are the scissors? Hi. Where are the scissors? All right, give me. Thank you. I have the board. Who takes the scissors? Apparently you take the scissors. Okay, here we go. Okay, board is on the way. It's fragile. No, do not move. Dr. Yamo. Okay, I will tell them to squeeze. Alafu mutakuja closer. Yeah, Ivo. Madam, you're tiny, so here. Please stand at an angle. Yes. I will let you know in a minute. So my pyros are behind them. Hold on, because I've got to figure out. Ngoja kidogo. Because I also need to warn them. Hi. Okay. So I need to let you all know, I have a little pyros here, so that it doesn't happen a lot of muogope kama Waafrika. Okay. Fine. So iende nyuma and we come forward a little. Yes, Dr. Yamo. This way. So, very nice. So that even the pyros are not in your face. Yeah. Tuko sawa? Ukarabati nayo. Ushikilie kwani? Alafu chuchumae. Yeah, Ivo. Yeah, and then we're all here. We're all here. No, don't worry. He's holding it. Oh, oops. What happened? Oh, he wasn't holding it. All right. Okay, there we go. And I need you in front. Yes. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. In front so the pyros don't get to you. Okay, now it's your show. Whenever you're ready, cut the ribbon, unveil the campaign. Here we go. Am I gonna get a drum roll? Yes. Where is my person? Whenever you're ready. Na wale wako hapo nyuma watoke, sitaki watu wa kurukaruka. Thank you. Are we good? What's going on? Okay, are we good? Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Eat less meat. Yeah. Pull it. Yes. Oh, wow. Are you supposed to sign that? Oh, I'll get you a pen. Oh, all right. Okay, hold on. You need to pledge. Kila mtu, you need to sign that. Oh, we will all sign, by the way. We will all sign. Okay. This. Of course. For our online audience, I know you can still hear me. Please use the link on the chat box to pledge to eat less meat. Where Daktari, umeandika story mob. Well done. Well done. Yes, you have signed. And once you sign, you must hold your pens because I can get a few more pictures. And then where did my microphone go? Because a very important gentleman is about to make sure that we're ready to eat less meat. I will feed you. Wow. I will remind you once again, the phone eats first. So when you plate your meal, and I also wanted to say something wonderful is going to be happening at, we've got a live cooking station. We don't play with you, but Dr. Patrick Mwinde, I really need you to take charge. Have we all signed? Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Mwinde, have you signed? without me. You know the reason I don't want to sign is that I won't be able to get a meal in Java. I mean, really. Yeah. There we go. I pledged. Sasa msumbue. Yes. There we go. It is now your show. Thank you ever so much. I'm going to take more pictures with you. Okay. And then I would like this to go away, if possible. Will this go away?
Yeah, you
Fantastic.
can.
Daktari, all yours. Where's your microphone? You can't stand close to me so you can be heard. Oh, okay. Otherwise, I was going to hang close to him.
Nice one. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
How are you doing?
And
Having a good time here? Okay. I guess now you know my name. My name is Dr. Patrick Mwende. I work for World Animal Protection as a research manager. And first, I want to appreciate those who are here before me. They never told me how it feels looking at these bright faces who are ready to take forward our campaign. So feel so much appreciated. Of course, I appreciate the passion that you are showing here. And to believe we are the people who we are going to work with so that we move forward with this campaign. I know some of you have interacted with us before and you have embraced our vision and our mission. Mission, we move the world to protect animals, and Tennyson did mention that. When we say we, it's not only us as an organization, but every one of us here. And our vision is a world where animals live free from cruelty and suffering. I'm very sure those who joined us earlier, you saw that video, which was played here by our CEO, and really you could see what is happening to animals. May it be farmed animals, may it be wild animals, may it be domestic animals. All that is a lot of work. We cannot do it alone as World Animal Protection. And that's why we are calling all of you here to come and join us in that campaign. Tennyson always tells me this is the most important aspect, because without all of you here, we might not be able to achieve what we are aiming to. And I would like to acknowledge you individually, all of us here. And I'll start with the media houses. Real Media Services, radios, Citizen Radio and Citizen TV. Thank you for coming here to be with us. Media Max, I know Milele FM, K24, People Daily are here with us. Star Newspaper, that is from Radio Africa Group. Standard Media, Standard Newspaper, Radio Maisha. Thank you so much for being here with us. Nation Media, that is a Nation Newspaper, Asante Sana. Of course, we have Zinio News, Radio France International. Fitness by Stephanie, it's good to see you here, Asante Sana. And again, our partners, we value so much. Many of us are here with us today. Action for Protection of Animals Africa, Asante Sana. Open Wing Alliance, thank you for supporting us. World Federation for Animal Welfare, it's good to see you here. UNEP, it's good to have this conversation with you. We have Bretta Green, thank you so much. Healthier Hands and Ethical Seafood Research are here with us. I'm not forgetting influencers. You people are the face of this country. You are the face of Africa. So whatever you're going to put forward there will be taken forward by many of us. So we really appreciate your coming and driving this messaging forward. Our Ostia, our social house, Asante Sana, is a good place. I hope you have loved the ambience. It's so good. And I promise you we'll be back again. I understand we also had other people joining us online. Thank you so much for being with us from wherever you are. We have audience from South Africa, Zambia, Uganda, Cote d'Ivoire, and maybe other more countries. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your patience. Crimsons, you have done a good job to have them on board this far. We appreciate that much for the good work. I'm coming to two good people. I'll start with Caroline.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for pushing us forward, for being with us. You have really helped us bring all this together. Organizers, thank you so much. Bring all these people together here is not a joke, and seeing it a success. Dr. Victor Yamo, for your insights, for your expertise. He has been in this field for quite some time, you can tell. His experience is something that you need to tap on. I always call him senior because of a lot of insights that he gave me. Who is remaining? Anyone is remaining? No one. Okay. Now I want you to tell you something. Sorry.
I got it.
I want to tell you something. We have all heard what Victor told us. You have heard in a day, for example, in my case, I don't know, who can estimate my kilograms, my weight?
You'll
Any?
be upset.
Yeah? 28?
78.
78? No, it's higher than that. Trust me, it's higher than that. 84 is higher than that. Go on. 90, slightly closer. 95? No, that's quite high. I am 87 kilos.
All right.
So 87 times 0.8 grams, that defines what I need to eat as protein. I remember it's protein, not only animal protein, it's both plant-based protein and animal protein. And remember, these small efforts that you are going to make, these small steps that you are going to make, they are pulling to have a significant impact, okay? And that's the message that I want to go home with. And I know there's something special waiting for you. We have been talking about change. We have been talking about eat less meat. How does it look like? How are we going to move forward from that? I'd like to welcome Caroline again to take this floor and take us through the next steps.
No. So I just wanted to check, have you scanned the code? If you actually signed up and you scroll down, well, the first time you scroll down, you went past Estonia, Japan, looking for Kenya. And then if you scroll down, it says cookbook. Click on it because obviously you're sitting there thinking, we're going to eat less meat, but what are we going to eat? So what we did with Jazz, and she's here, everybody knows her as Jasmine. She's not just here because she's created an amazing cookbook and recipes that you can actually try at home, and they look really simple, which is important for me. Not everybody's like Kit, who can cook anything, but she's actually part of dinner tonight. Actually, what I want to say is dinner is served. Dinner is served. And yeah, you need to clap for that. To our online audience, because you're not having dinner, good night, but eat something that has no meat, okay? All right. So dinner is served here, and the team at Social House have done something they've never done before, a complete no meat dinner. I know the invitation said out with one way. Okay, let me work that out with one way. Let me take your pictures.
Oh,
first,
ile
please.
ko pale.
Zile za magazeti. Yeah, very important.
Oh, okay.
Alafu, munaweza kunisikia.
Okay, as you move out, you can sign your pledge there outside.
We know that the fate of animals' lives rests in our hands. Our passionate teams inspire and mobilize individuals and organizations to create change. We support local and global movements that are fighting for a better future for animals. Our knowledge and expertise give us a powerful voice at the most influential levels of government and business, where we establish animal welfare as a global priority and a local concern. Though the challenge is great, our determination is greater.